What up, family? What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Father to Father podcast, where we take deep dives into fatherhood through meaningful conversation. Me and my pop are your hosts, and each episode we'll get into the role men play as fathers. Whether you're a single dad, co-parenting, or going through the court system, you're in the right place to get new perspectives and stories. So join us on this journey, and let's discuss what makes fatherhood so. We back. Another episode, Father to Father podcast. I am your co-host, Monty.
I am your other co-host, Gregory.
And this week we got some more good info coming, more good. And what we're gonna try to cover today is fatherhood across generations. And now that I'm saying it out loud, the interesting dynamic about it, Dad, you'll love this, is that we got that kind of in our little duo right here as far as fatherhood across generations. I should have thought about it when writing all this stuff down, but I am now. And we're gonna try to cover good and bad. We're gonna not spend too much time on the bad, but just cover how it has changed a little bit throughout times. It's just being a father and how it can be similar and how some things never change. Dad, you got anything you want?
Okay, we can jump right into it and see how fatherhood has changed over the generations or past generations.
Mm-hmm.
And we find that no longer the fathers are expected to be the sole breadwinner.
Right.
They have become a little bit more involved with the kid and have become a more caring parent. We were generations ago, the fathers had to really get out and work because jobs were scarce for black men. And once they had a job, the mother had to stay at home with the child. And the father had to bring in all the money to take care of the household. So that has changed. It's no longer expected to be the sole breadwinner because now women are out there working now.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the economy being like it is, that dual income is and I'm not saying everybody's situation is the same, but for a lot of what we would call common folk, you need two incomes to take care of a house.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would agree with that. Yeah, it is definitely times has changed in that aspect. And what I wanted to ask Pop, as far as when you was coming up, what was that like for you? Like that, like what was Lewis like in the household, like when you got him there?
Okay, when he was there, well, like I said in previous, that I only had my mother and father only married for 8 years. They were together 8 years. I was in the household with them, and they separated at the age of 8. But he did have a job. He worked for the railroad, so he would provide for the family. But he had issues. Once he got off,
we all do. We all do.
Some issues.
We all do.
So that was he was the sole breadwinner. My mother worked part-time. She worked over in St. Louis as part-time, but my dad was basically the primary source of income. And me and my older brother were more or less kind of stayed at home, and we were raised up by the neighborhood.
Right.
In the neighborhood.
And it's not like that was a completely bad thing. You need not, and this is not recommended for all kids, but some kids you need that a little bit of street sense to get you. It's not gonna take you super far in life. I'm not saying that at all, but to navigate a couple situations, you'll need a little street smarts, and that's not bad at all. I want to talk about technology's impact. Because like as we recording this right now, I know you see the mic right here, and we got lights and stuff like that. But Dad, when you came up, a lot of this podcast and this word didn't exist. Like the term podcast didn't exist. Like let alone us getting on camera and expressing feelings and talking about what we deal with day to day. Like that was unheard of when you was coming up. Like, what do you think about technology now and how it has changed parenting, or as far as because you didn't have it, but as you became a parent, these things came along. Yeah. And I know as I was growing up, like we had like house phones and stuff like that. So I just want you to kind of talk a little bit about how technology has changed as from your aspect.
Okay. Again, television was a rarity in the household. I mean, we would go to neighbor's house growing up as kids, and one of our neighbors had TV, and weekends we would all go. Those kids in the neighborhood would pile in their house on Saturday mornings and watch TV.
Right.
Hadn't had a phone, a telephone in the house until I was about 11 years old.
Mm.
So that was, everything went by word of mouth, or somebody would pass it on.
Yeah, pass it on.
Pass it on. Someone had a phone, everybody had to go down their house and use that one phone, or because the neighborhoods were small.
Right. Right. That village, that word we like to use here, the village. It was that. Not to say that it don't now, but it definitely meant a whole lot back then.
Right.
Like with like you said, having to go to a particular house to share a phone or to look at TV. You know what I'm saying? So everybody was a little bit trust. Nowadays, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how I would. I'm thinking about it now, sharing a phone or a TV. If I don't know you, I'm not sending my kid down to your
right.
down to your
house.
Yeah. But that's crazy to think about. And at times that's not crazy to think about. We just evolve as we go as humankind, technology. And as that pertains to fatherhood, now checking in with your kids is a lot easier. Like now, as I said, our dynamic, I could just pick up a phone and call my pop and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, "Hey, or call you on Messenger and see, just so I can see your face." As opposed to, like you said, when you was coming up, like that face-to-face thing or having those conversations, that was like right. And I missed that a little bit, like being able to, like, hey, how you get older, you know what I'm saying? I miss being a kid a little bit, not having bills, of course, but being able to one morning get up and just ask my daddy something. Like not him being right there accessible. He's always accessible. That's not an issue. But him being in the same house is a little different.
Yeah, and on those phones, just about now, everybody got at least 3 phones in the house, not counting the house phone. If they still
if you still use a landline,
everybody got a cell phone. And communication, technology kind of slows that communication, face-to-face conversation with your kid. They'll call you. You'll be in the same household with them.
Right.
They'll call you on the phone instead of just coming directly to you. That's a big drawback for me. I really just come talk to you. Why should I have to call you?
Right.
We're in the same house.
Right.
You upstairs, I'm downstairs.
Right.
Hey.
Just yell, hey. Right.
Face-to-face.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything down there on your notes on technology, or we could keep going?
Let's see. Well, television. Like I said, television. That kind of it's entertainment for children.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all didn't have things like Miss Rachel and all the stuff we have now, Sesame Street. I'm just going off of what I know Lewis watches right now, Lewis and Ava. You didn't have those things. And speaking of television, I'm glad you said it. Television. We, as today's parents, we kind of I don't want us to get lost in it and I hope you don't let the television raise your kids.
That's
like
what's happening.
You want to moderate it a little bit. You can cut it off at some point. Like you said, like you have to physically drop out from what you're doing to get them on board with, what I'm saying? Like, hey, spend that time with them. That little bit goes a long way. It's not, I always say it's not the money spent, it's the time spent that they remember, not the money.
Give them time period to watch TV, and then not only TV, they got the tablets and all these other devices that kids have now.
Yep.
That occupy them, and they need to get off of that some.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Now you don't want to just let them sit there glued to it 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah,
that's what happens a lot of times.
A lot of times it does. Like I said, and those devices start teaching them things that maybe you don't want them to know. Let's say that's just another thing that I'm glad I didn't go on off technology. if you got a older child like in the teenage years with those telephones, they didn't say something, they got a smartphone. You might as well just get used to that. It's accessible to them. But what you want to try to keep the communication open with them so that it's not always like they're not hiding things from you. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to be able, not that you got to drill sergeant them and stand down on them 24/7 and be in their phone like what you doing, what you looking at, let me see. You should be checking and you should be involved, absolutely. But if you have that good line of communication about what goes on and how to navigate these things, you won't have that problem. Or at least you shouldn't if you work on it. If you work on it.
Yeah.
What you got, Pop?
Let's look at what is this? Mothers. A little bit on the mothers. A lot of times, the mothers in a lot of households, mothers have become the primary breadwinner. I'm kind of jumping away from that technology thing.
That's fine.
You know, but mothers have become the primary breadwinners because sometimes you have that absentee father.
Yep.
And the child is with the mother. In most cases, they're with the mother. So now the mother got to raise the child, be the primary breadwinner for the child,
and kind of play that both role, that mother and kind of pseudo father a little bit. She has to be both. The good and bad cop or good and bad parent or whatever you choose to say. She has to do both. Not that you are, as fathers, we have to be the bad parent role or whatever. It's just that sometimes I know I'm glad I had you as a boy. You need a man to teach you how to be a man. Not to say that she can't. She can teach you certain things about being a man. It only goes so far. You need a man to teach you how to be a man. That's for sure.
Basically, in the household, the father should be the one to lay down the rules in the house and enforce them. Lay down the rules and enforce them. But if the dad is not there, then again that falls on the mother.
So, and I with that, if you do have them both, and I don't necessarily want it to seem like dad is just like take over everything, like because the responsibilities are shared. So you establish with mom how you want it to go in the house. So because I don't want anybody to feel like like we old school and not thinking like fathers lay down the law and this is my way or the highway. But listen, you share and you get it out there. But if you don't, it's a lack of. Like I said, sometimes it don't always be like that. But when it's some kids, you could tell like that it's missing and that they need it. That's for sure. I would say that much.
My dad, supposed to have been laying down rules and enforcing them, but he wasn't really the disciplinarian for me. My brother, when we were growing up, with my mother, a lot of times it used to be, you wait till your daddy got home, and you get your discipline. And then you had to sit around all day wondering, I'm going to get tore up when I get tore up. But now, it's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore.
Even that has changed across generations. Where you say again, whoopings. Like a lot of people tend not to. I don't know what everybody does in their households. A lot of people tend not to. And I got small children, so I don't have those issues where I need to be. But I don't think I'll be that parent that'll do that. I'm like you in that sense, like because with you it was like you could say things that made me feel away when I was coming up. Like I didn't want to disappoint you, like, and I knew when I disappointed you about how what was said, so you didn't have to go that far. And I said, that's the kind of style I'm hoping I'll get into. Like I don't.
So you may have to get them legs sometimes. They say it's better to spoil a child. Sometimes, it won't hurt.
No, like I said, the whoopings I got, I look at now like as learning lessons.
Right, absolutely.
Lessons are learning lessons. As I got older, I look back on some of those things now and be like, I needed that whooping, or I see why I got it. Definitely. But again, I'm gonna leave that to all y'all out there. That's your choice. You didn't hear it from me. You did not hear that from me.
Do what you have to do.
Yeah. What about education and support? Like, how has that changed? as far as generational goals and fatherhood, education and support. And I'll start off with support with, because now, like you was just saying, that could tie into a few other things. Now where fathers are, it's not as you have them in the house now. Like, and even if you're not even together, it's a lot. You just don't see I don't know why media works like that. You don't see those images of dads being dads. Not, or if you do, it's few and far between. But we are there. We're out there taking care of our kids. Like, so I just want to say there are dads out there supporting and bending over backwards to make sure these kids have what they need. I don't know why the media try to portray it as if moms have to do everything on their own now. And there's a lot of them that do. I don't want to discredit any single mom out there at all. But there are also a lot of damn good fathers out there taking care of their things as well. Absolutely. So as far as support goes, we are definitely there. I know in past times, like I said, it wasn't always the case. It wasn't always the case. And I think over generations, like we as black men started to take that up on ourselves. Like, if you didn't have it, I want to be the father that I didn't have. Like, or if I did, like in my case, I had a great father. So I knew what I wanted to be when I became a dad. So I think as far as support goes, it has definitely changed for the good over generations. Education as well. You would know something about education, Pop.
Right. I went into the education field.
Right.
That has changed so much now that they don't have that on hand teachers.
Uh-huh.
You know, now technology. I'm not saying technology is wrong, because that's what the future is.
Right. That's where we're going. Right. That's where we're headed.
You know, change. Everybody resists change.
That's the only thing that is constant in life, and that's change.
Change. People resist change.
Yep.
It's happening. So now they have, I don't think they even use books anymore.
Man.
With the Chrome books.
Yeah, they got stuff, stuff like little tablets and stuff like you can check in and see what they're doing and see where the assignments was at. Right. I'd have been in trouble if I was a student.
It's different. Education is different.
Yeah, definitely different. Yeah. Technology is definitely changed. That's what I say. A lot of this stuff we talking points, it can go back, and technology plays a part in a lot of how we parent today, or how we try to parent. Like I said, navigating how much time we allow our kids with technology is very important. Going forward,
they can use those tablets now. Technology, like I said, nothing is wrong with technology.
No.
Like I said, we are in that generation and going definitely in that direction, where it's going to take over.
Yes.
Take over.
It is already taken over. Not going to or about to. It is already taken over. Now it's like some people can't function without certain things in their life. You get up and I try not to. I got into the habit of this myself. I try to, when I get up in the morning, not the first thing we grab is the phone. And not do that. You just try to give yourself like 10 minutes of just being before you dial in to what somebody else in their life got going on, or even if you just checking in with other people. Like I said, before you put your feet on the floor, I know a lot of like grab the phone, like just try to get that out. That's just little small things I try to do to try to keep myself away from it, and then I go on breaks. Take a little week or two break, or however long I need away from Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that, just to try to disconnect. Because sometimes it can be too much indulging into other people's lives, especially when a lot of what you see on social media is false. It's what they want you to see, and not what really goes on in the household. You don't see the nitty gritty, the down and dirty. Like right now, let's just give a prime example. You see what you see on this camera right now, but behind it, I got a pile of dirty clothes back there that need to hit the laundry. You don't see that though. You know what I'm saying? Just small example. I want to talk about mental health and fatherhood, because it's something that I feel like is very important in these days, with the way I see women getting hurt by men these days. Like a lot of crimes that men it just seems like we got some pent up frustration somewhere, and we're not getting it out, or we're not talking to somebody, or I don't know what that is. Like, man, fellas, from me to you, if it is to a point where you feel like you need to hit her, just leave. That's not it. That's not it, man. I'm telling you. Or where And seen situations where dudes kill females over small being rejected. She done moved on. You just like all kind of stuff these days, man. Like, please, fellas, talk about it. You got to get these things out. Do not let it fester because it is not good. It's apparently eating us alive because we doing stuff to women that I didn't think we were even capable of, or even would cross somebody's mind of doing. Like these are who we are when you in trouble. I know a lot of us, like the first person we call is mama. Like, and with that in mind, like you want to protect women at all costs, or at least in the back of your mind, that should be in the back of your. You want to protect them, like you know what I'm saying. Like, man, we gotta do better, fellas, in that aspect. In my mind, like I don't know. Maybe I'll leave a link for a hotline in the description of this where you can get a hold of somebody if you feel like you need to talk about something, or even message me, DM me, wherever, leave comments, man, ask questions. Like I said, I'm here for y'all, man. We got to get it out. This mental health thing is very important in these days. There's a lot of stuff going on that I feel like it shouldn't, especially when it comes to taking care of kids and being there for our partners and co-parents and our girlfriends and our wives. Like, we got to do better. Positive thing you want to add?
It's not so much about being a mental health issue. It's that abuse.
Yes.
Now, the abuse can be verbal or physical. Do you want your child growing up looking at you being abusive, physical or mental abuse on the significant other?
Yep.
You know, and your child is looking at you. Do you want your child to grow up in that kind of environment and then start acting
exactly? That's what I was going to get into. Those things, yep,
displaying in front of him.
Yep. You don't want them to grow up doing those
then
things.
Then you wonder why.
Yep.
You have to take a look at yourself at times. Mm-hmm. I want my child to be doing this.
Yep.
That verbal and mental abuse. It's not so much mental, but mental illness is an issue. But being physically abusive and verbal abuse can be damaging and scarring forever. A lifetime.
Yep. They carry that a lifetime. And later on, you don't want it to come out in other forms of things that they're doing. Like I said, those acts turn into other things as they get older, and then it becomes a harder thing to get over as you get older, especially if you just push it off to the side and you're not dealing with the root of what causes these things.
Cause incarcerations.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Incarceration.
Yep. They'll take you there.
You down.
Yep, they will sit you down. You want to get into, and this, what we're talking about kind of like goes into this, and this intergenerational learning. Like what have you taken from, like what have I got from you, and what did you get from your dad, passing it down? Like what, and I'm not saying I got this from you, but just being aware, there, like I said, not I didn't see abuse or anything like that. Just always being aware of with my kids, just being there. I can say I've learned that, like to be there. And I probably said that I say probably, I know I have in other episodes that I've had a great example of knowing, of being aware. Like I said, just that intergenerational learning of knowing to being a good dad. I learned that for sure.
See, I didn't have that experience with my dad because he wasn't there. I think I had just started elementary school after my mother and father had separated. So I didn't have my dad. He didn't get a good education. He went elementary ed. Mm-hmm. He didn't finish high school. So my mother was finished high school. So
that says a lot about you, though. That now that I'm thinking about it, though, you saying you didn't get that. Like I've said this before. There is not any of my siblings that can say we have a bad experience. Like, you were the best dad. We always say that. And you hear this from us all the time. We brag about you a lot to everybody. But that says a lot about you because you didn't have that. And what can you say fed into that for you being what we call the best dad?
Well, it was pushed with my grandparents. I moved in with my grandparents. My mother did move back in with her mother. And it was a thing for us to come up, hey, you got to get a high school education. That was the thing then. We never dreamed about going to college or anything like that. if you can just get out and get a high school education, that was a goal for us to get that. And say we'd be able to do more for ourselves with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pushed in our household. Although I wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I stuck with it.
But exactly, and you look at what that's what I'm saying. That says a lot about you because you went on to accomplish so many good things. Like you said, it wasn't expected then to go to college. You did that, and later on went on to become an educator yourself.
Right.
That says a lot. That says a lot. That you had. I wish I could have met what you had. Like I said, I knew your dad and your mom. I'm talking about your grandparents though.
Mm-hmm.
I said I wish.
Our kids got more opportunities that I had when I was growing up. It's there for you if you want to just get out there.
Yep.
You got to work for it. It's
Yep.
not gonna come to you. You know, you got to put forth some effort
Mm-hmm.
yourself. It's out there. So take advantage of everything you can. Everything.
That's true. And that's just not for fathers out there. That's for everybody watching. Take advantage of those opportunities. Everyone they give you, take it, use it to your full advantage. Use it. So I'm doing this social media thing right here, right now. I'm like to consider myself a content creator, but this is what we're doing. This is the space we're in right now. So, and I'm trying to make the best of it. Before we wrap it up for the night, Pop, we got similarities in fatherhood across generation. And I got three things that I have been going over and writing down, and some similarities. And what I got here is the desire to provide and protect, the values passed down, and the love and the sacrifice. Those are three things that I felt like generationally will and going forward will never change. The desire to provide as men, like that's or I hope as a father that should be your number one goal, is to be a provider, to make sure that they have. I don't know what you got your vices or whatever you're doing. You should feel bad if you doing good, you play video games, you smoke, whatever you do, you drink, you got smoke, you got games, but your kids don't have anything. Like that should make you feel terrible as a provider. I'm not saying that you have to give them the sun and the moon, but the basic necessities they should have as far as providing for them goes. And that's something that I feel like is important, and it hasn't changed. Like men are definitely providers. Fathers are providers.
To add on a little bit with that, but you need to be more playful with your children, to be more playful, come involved with them.
Yes, be more there. Yeah, playful. Right. Just figure them out. You know, like just sit there and see what they like to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just be involved with them. That's true, Daddy. That's true.
Show more emotion.
Yes.
They have feelings than you have.
That goes into love and sacrifice. Like I said, that putting away our time and that's not a sacrifice at all. You should want to go do that. Just go hang out with your kids or sometime. That's a good thing. I know I feel rich after I hang out with my kids, man. It's just that love, man. I swear, it's just something about being around them and seeing their little ideas and with their personalities, man. I feel, like I said, I feel rich. I feel rich. My kids make me feel rich.
More involved in that child's life.
Yep.
And also, you have to have a greater share in the household, in the child care. Increase that responsibility, taking care of your child. Increase your responsibility. Don't throw it all on the mother.
Yeah, fella. So like I said, and I'm not saying, I'm not trying to get down on us. Like that's what we do. We just push it off on them because I know it's a lot. I got a cousin single father. I know a couple single fathers that do what they got to do, man. They say, hey, shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Yeah. Travis, Tony, shout out to y'all, man.
Yeah. One last thing I want to add, what we need is to provide a feeling of security, physically and emotionally, for your child. Let the child feel secure being with you.
Yep.
Physically and emotionally.
Yep.
Show that care and loving father.
That is very true. Like I said, that ties into everything we talked about here today, man. And I hope we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all got some good gems out of this one. Like I said, we're going to do this as often as we can. We're going to lock in. We got some good topics coming forward. We got, like I said, I got my Transparency Thursday. I got some stuff coming up with some people who want to come on. Like I said, if y'all know any dads y'all want to shout out, who we want to come on, hit me up. Let me know. Y'all know where we are. Father to Father podcast, man. Reach out to us. Like, share, subscribe.
Comment.
Yep.
We need comments.
We love it. All the feedback. It is all welcome. We appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good Labor Day. Y'all enjoy. Peace.